Hey everyone, welcome. Thanks for stopping by today. So I thought today I might do a little bit of spring and Easter decorating. At least I'm going to do a little bit. So hopefully you'll join me for that. So in today's video, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do a simple Easter spring centerpiece that I'm going to use in the family room on the ottoman. Now, I wasn't planning to do much of anything this year because it feels like I just took down Christmas. Isn't that unbelievable how fast that time went? I don't know. It just seems like time is flying by and there's no time to do anything. And by the time something happens, it's past already. You know what they say? When you get old, it's like a roll of toilet paper. The closer you get to the end, the faster it goes. So I said to myself, you know, Joe, you're going to want to do a little bit something, so you might as well get started now. It's March 10th already. It's getting really close, and you know, I figured let me do a little something here and there just to bring in the spirit of the season and of the holiday. So you know, I don't have actually much much Easter and spring stuff. To be honest with you, you know, I have a lot of like stuff that I really don't want to use. I might use it in the bay window because, you know, that looks festive and it's okay for outside, but I really don't want to use it in the house. I have a lot of, you know, I always want to say childish looking things. I actually have two nice bunnies that I'm going to be using. I have one ceramic bunny. I can't remember where I got it from. It's been that long. And then I have another three bunnies with umbrellas, which is an FAO Schwartz piece. Those are my two best Easter spring kind of things that I'm going to be using this year. So like I said, I'm going to do a little centerpiece for the family room ottoman. And I'm going to be using a wicker basket. I'm going to be using the ceramic bunny I have. I'm going to create a bird's nest in there as well, and I'm going to use two little birdies in there. And then I'm going to add some vines and some greenery as well, some light green that it looks like it's new growth greenery. And then I'm going to use some eggs that I made a few years back, some specialty eggs. I put flowers on them and stuff like that. I'll show you when the time comes in case you don't know what I'm talking about. And I'm going to use a couple of little eggs here and there. And then that's it. And I'm going to put that on a tray and put that on the ottoman. And it should bring in the season just by putting that there. So let's get to it. Here we go. This is the basket that I'm choosing to use. It's a nice basket, and it also matches the other wicker that I have going on in the room. I'm talking about the coloration of it. And what I did was I filled it in with some Christmas garland so it has a sticking point. Next thing in is I went out in the yard, I got some branches, some thin branches, and I created this little bird's nest and I put some moss inside of it. So with the whole idea of the season of rebirth and you know, things like that, I'm going to use some plants. Obviously this is when plants begin to sprout and we get a proliferation of things growing. So I try to make it kind of look like an early spring garden. I used, here you see some vine. And this is a really neat one because it actually has, it's plastic, right? Or that, you know, that thick material. I don't even know what you call it anymore. And it has a vine, a brown vine that makes it look a little bit more realistic. Not that it would fool anybody into thinking that it is real, but it does have that idea when you see it. So I put it in the base and then I wrapped it around the handle. I'm going to use two of these picks that I had gotten in the Dollar Tree when they used to have nicer floral picks. And I chose to use these two because you can see they're a lighter green, which suggests to me, you know, early growth. When the leaves first start coming out, they have a lighter color than that deep dark green that you get later on in the season. Now, somebody's going to say out there, well, Joe, you just use that vine and it has dark green leaves. Well, that English ivy always has dark leaves. You very rarely see light-leaved English ivy. So it makes sense, still makes sense. But here on the opposite side of the basket, I am putting in these light green leaves. And as you can see, I also nestled in the little ceramic bunny as well. I just stuck in one sprig of eucalyptus because I like the difference in texture. I added another vine on the opposite side just to fill in the greenery. I think one of the most iconic flowers for Easter and for spring is the tulip. So I chose to use a few tulips here. I have, I think, 6 larger ones, and I used a couple of smaller ones. And I kept them all in this lilac pink kind of flavor because it plays so beautifully off of the green. So what I did was I just kind of like, I don't want to say haphazardly because you have to step back and take a look at it, but I put a couple behind the bunny, 3 of them, 2 towards the front of the bunny by the bird's nest, and then 3 more on the other side. And I really didn't go so particular because you know how tulips grow. They're always, as they get older, they start to, hang over and whatnot. They kind of look like they just don't care. So that's kind of the way that I wanted to place them in this basket. Like they just don't care. Just those pops of beautiful color. And like I said, it's a tulip. It's so iconic of the season. Next up are some decorative eggs that I had made. Now what I did was I got plastic eggs from the Dollar Zone, I think they were, and they didn't have a seam in them because I don't like the way that seam looks. It's hard to disguise that in those plastic eggs. So no seam, and then I painted it. The next thing I did was I took some flowers off of some stems that I had, some from the Dollar Tree, something like that. And then what I did was I painted them, and then I put Mod Podge on them to make them really stiff. And then I hot glued them onto the eggs. Next thing I did was I polyurethaned the entire thing to give it a glass-like feature. Then down at the bottom, what I did was I took some leaves off of, some cheap stem as well, painted them, Mod Podged them so that they got nice and stiff, and then I hot glued them as well onto the egg and polyurethane them as well, so that the whole thing, kind of looks like a ceramic piece. That's what I wanted it to look like. So I made a couple in this purple color, and coming up next, you'll see a couple that I made in a green color. Here's the green one, and you can see I did this a little bit different. I used some twine to make those tendrils. I'm going to add in a few more little eggs here and there, and 2 little birdies in the nest. And here's the ottoman that the centerpiece is going to be placed on. And I added this nice celery green throw first. So next in, I decided to use this tray because I wanted the basket to be sitting on something a little bit more sturdy than just sitting on top of that throw. So I'm using this tray in order to do that. And obviously this is going to be followed by the basket. So let's take a look at how everything looks. Hey, thanks so much for stopping by. Don't forget, subscribe, drop me a comment, say hi, and let me know, does your life feel like a roll of toilet paper too?